What if the reason you choked in your last high stakes meeting wasn't like a lack of preparation, but an actual literal traffic jam in your nervous system?
Oh, that is such a real feeling.
Right. Like
Real.
you had all the data, you knew exactly what you wanted to say, but the second you opened your mouth, the signal just completely degraded into static.
Yeah, it's just gone.
Completely. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are actually looking at a source text today that tackles this exact problem of communication breakdown, but from a perspective that might surprise you.
For sure. It's totally different.
Yeah, we are exploring a singular, really fascinating document titled Tanzanite, the Stone of Vision and Inner Wisdom. And our mission today is to explore how this rare, deep, blue-violet crystal, which, by the way, was formed hundreds of millions of years ago, is framed as a profound tool for spiritual awareness.
Right. It's not just, a physical gemstone sitting in a jeweler's display case.
Exactly. It's pitched as a tool for intuition and achieving truly authentic expression.
Which takes us completely away from conventional advice. I mean, we aren't looking at corporate public speaking tactics or vocabulary building today.
Definitely not.
The text examines the energetic and spiritual mechanics of how we connect with ourselves, and consequently, how we manage to clearly project our internal reality out to other people.
Yeah, and right out of the gate, the text establishes Tanzanite's rather heavy moniker. It's traditionally known as the Stone of Magic.
The Stone of Magic, it's a big title.
It really is. The source claims this stone serves a very specific metaphysical function by acting as a bridge. Like, it connects the physical world we walk around in every day with a deeper spiritual awareness,
Hmm.
encouraging us to look far beyond our everyday surface-level perception.
And that bridging concept is really the architectural foundation for everything the text claims about the stone's capabilities.
Right.
It's about repairing the antenna so you can catch the signal that is already broadcasting within you, rather than, just handing you a new artificial script to read.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because going from the abstract idea of a stone of magic bridging worlds to the actual nitty-gritty of how human beings talk to each other without misunderstanding one another, that's quite a leap.
It is a big jump, yeah.
But the text actually maps this out by applying Tanzanite to the body's energy centers. It traditionally links this stone to a specific triad of higher chakras.
The crown, the third eye, and the throat.
Yes, exactly. And according to the source, this combination represents a literal journey of bringing thoughts into conscious awareness and then expressing them clearly.
It outlines a highly sequential flow of energy and information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the physical placement or meditation on these points isn't arbitrary at all. It reflects how an abstract impulse solidifies into language.
I actually found myself thinking about this as an idea pipeline.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you start at the very top, at the crown chakra, which the text associates with receiving higher inspiration or a spiritual connection from the universe.
The intake valve, basically.
Exactly, the intake valve. Then that raw material drops down to the third eye chakra, where the abstract inspiration gets processed.
Right, where your intuition takes over.
Right, it forms a recognizable thought or an image. You start to see the shape of the idea. And finally, it travels to the throat chakra.
The broadcast tower.
The broadcast tower. This is where that visualized thought gets translated into physical reality through sound vibration.
So the unseen becomes the seen, which then becomes the spoken.
Yes.
And when that system operates seamlessly, you get incredibly articulate, resonant communication. The problem, as the text notes, is that this pipeline is highly susceptible to bottlenecks.
So what does this all mean for someone who just struggles to articulate their thoughts? Like, say you are having a really difficult personal conversation with a partner.
A very stressful situation.
Right. In that moment, the inspiration might hit the crown, the vision might be clear in the third eye, but the throat chakra effectively goes offline.
It just shuts down.
Yeah, and the result is just stammering, or worse, snapping and saying the exact wrong thing.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the source text explicitly anticipates that bottleneck.
Really? How so?
It addresses it by adding another crucial layer to this pipeline, which fundamentally changes the dynamic. It introduces the heart.
Which is physically located below those three higher chakras.
Exactly.
But the text states that Tanzanite carries a gentle, heart-opening energy, insisting that true communication isn't just about the words spoken.
The heart acts as the vital filter. I mean, consider the loudest, most articulate communicators you know.
Okay, yeah.
Often, they're actually the worst at genuine connection because they completely bypass this filter. If your pipeline only consists of the crown, third eye, and throat, you might be a brilliant orator, but you could also be incredibly harsh.
Oh, or calculating or detached.
Exactly. You might use your eloquence as a weapon. The text emphasizes that true communication involves compassion, honesty, and intention. So the heart tempers the broadcast.
But wait, let me push back on that a little bit.
Sure.
We hear all the time that honesty is the best policy. And sometimes the truth is just objectively brutal.
That's true.
So if I am speaking my absolute, unfiltered inner truth, it isn't always going to feel gentle to the person receiving it. If the heart filter is just like sugarcoating reality to avoid conflict, aren't we sacrificing the clarity of the throat chakra?
Well, sugarcoating is actually a form of dishonesty, right?
I guess so, yeah.
It obscures the truth rather than filtering it. Look closely at how the text balances its terms. It doesn't claim that true communication is about being quote-unquote nice.
Okay.
It specifies the compassion, honesty, and intention behind the words. The heart's role, according to this framework, isn't to dilute the truth, but to ensure the underlying mechanism delivering it is constructive.
Constructive, not destructive.
Exactly. You could deliver a devastating truth with compassion, aiming for growth rather than destruction.
Oh, I see. It's the difference between telling someone a harsh truth because you genuinely want to help them versus weaponizing a harsh truth just to win an argument.
Spot on. The words leaving the throat might be completely identical, but the energetic source driving them alters how they land.
Right. And Tanzanite, as described, aligns the higher processing of the mind with that emotional truth.
Creating a unified system where intellect and empathy are operating in tandem.
But identifying that compassionate intention is like impossible if your brain is spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh, completely impossible.
If the heart is the filter, how do we stop the brain from overwhelming it? Because the source highlights that many people work with Tanzanite specifically to strengthen their intuition, but it notes a prerequisite.
The quiet mind.
Yeah, the mind must first be quieted. The text says the stone helps calm an overactive mind, clearing space for clarity and reflection.
Which is hard because we exist in a constant state of cognitive overload.
Tell me about it.
The modern world demands our attention be fractured across 1,000 different anxieties and stimuli. That constant mental chatter creates the internal static that jams our frequency.
Here's where it gets really interesting because there is a profound paradox embedded in the source material.
Let's hear it.
To become a more effective external communicator, to be heard and clearly understood by others, you must first embrace complete internal silence. You have to stop thinking so loudly. I actually visualize it like a muddy glass of water.
Okay, a muddy glass.
Yeah, if you want to see through the glass, you can't filter out the dirt by furiously stirring the water around.
Right, that just makes it worse.
Exactly. Stirring just represents overthinking, rationalizing, planning your next sentence while the other person is still talking.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the mechanisms of how a physical object supposedly achieves this metaphysical result.
How so?
Well, even within spiritual frameworks, there's a grounding logic. Placing a cold, dense, heavy stone on your body acts as a powerful somatic psychological anchor.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, when your mind is spiraling into the future or dwelling on the past, the tactile sensation of weight and temperature forces your nervous system to localize its attention.
To the present physical moment.
Exactly. It breaks the anxiety loop.
It literally forces the silt to settle.
Yes.
And the text reveals why this mental silence is so absolutely critical. It's not just about feeling peaceful. It's about transformation.
Right.
By quietening the mind, you finally hear your own inner guidance. The text states Tanzanite is traditionally associated with moving beyond old habits, thought patterns, and behaviors that no longer serve us.
Because when the water is muddy, we run entirely on ingrained habit.
We just react.
We react to stimuli without thought.
Right.
We deploy the same defensive sarcasm in arguments. We make the same snap judgments about our colleagues.
Yeah.
The constant mental noise masks those habits from our own awareness.
Yeah.
But when you introduce stillness, when the water clears, you suddenly see the behavioral pattern for what it actually is.
The clarity exposes the outdated programming.
Exactly.
But the source is careful to point out that this transformation isn't passive. Like, the stone doesn't cast a magic spell that alters your personality while you sleep.
Wouldn't that be nice?
If only. The text specifically says it invites us to act with greater mindfulness and to consider the impact of our choices.
So the stone clears the static. But you still have to actively choose to change the station.
That is perfectly said.
That gap between the external stimulus and your internal response is where all human freedom lies.
Wow, yeah.
The calming energy attributed to Tanzanite creates a wider gap. In that suspended moment, rather than just snapping back defensively, you can consult your inner wisdom.
You can evaluate if your habitual response actually aligns with your heart.
Exactly.
But shifting from reactive to intentional is a massive undertaking. Which brings us to the actual application. The text doesn't just leave us with abstract chakra theories.
Right. There are practical steps.
It provides a very specific, deliberate meditation practice for working with the stone. It outlines a process of sitting quietly and physically placing the Tanzanite near the throat, third eye, or crown chakra.
Bringing the stone's purported energy into direct physical proximity with those specific energetic centers we discussed.
Right.
You are utilizing the somatic anchor exactly where the pipeline needs the most structural support.
And the instruction is to simply allow yourself to become aware of any thoughts or insights that arise without fighting them. And then the text asks you to pose 3 highly specific questions to yourself.
Okay.
The first one is, what wisdom am I ready to receive?
Notice the deliberate framing of that question, though.
What do you mean?
It does not ask what wisdom is out there in the universe. It asks what you are ready to receive.
Well, that's a huge distinction.
It really is. It highlights a fundamental psychological truth. Profound wisdom is constantly surrounding us, but our readiness to absorb it is the primary bottleneck.
Because our ego builds massive defense mechanisms to protect our current version of reality. Receiving new wisdom almost always requires dismantling a piece of that reality. It means admitting we were wrong or that we need to change.
Which is incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh, uncomfortable.
Cognitive dissonance kicks in immediately when we encounter information that threatens our self-concept.
For sure.
We block good advice all the time because we aren't in a place to accept the fallout of that truth. So by quieting the mind with the stone, the text suggests you're bypassing those ego defenses.
You are gently asking your system, what truth am I actually capable of metabolizing right now without shutting down in denial?
Exactly.
That requires deep self-honesty, and it leads directly into the second question from the text. What truth am I ready to express?
Oof, that's a tough one.
It really is. I really want you listening to this right now to reflect on that question. What truth am I ready to express? That is a staggeringly vulnerable thing to ask yourself.
It forces you to acknowledge that you are currently holding something back.
Yes. You are actively omitting a truth from your external reality.
It forces a confrontation between your authentic inner self and the curated persona you utilize to navigate society. Because expressing a deep-held truth always carries a social risk.
Always.
It might disrupt the status quo in your marriage. It might alter the power dynamics in your office.
So being ready to express it means you have stopped calculating the optics of the situation and you are willing to accept the consequences of your own authenticity.
Exactly. But it doesn't always have to be a shattering, life-altering revelation either. Truth scales.
What do you mean by that?
Well, maybe the truth you're ready to express today is simply telling a friend that their constant flaking is hurting your feelings, rather than pretending you don't care.
Oh, I see. The micro-truths.
Right. The micro-truths are often harder to express than the macro-truths because they require daily, sustained vulnerability.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This meditation process is designed to help you locate the appropriate scale of truth for your current emotional capacity.
Which brings us to the final question the text instructs us to ask, tying the entire pipeline back to the heart filter. How can I communicate more clearly from the heart?
This is the operational imperative.
Right.
It takes the wisdom you've managed to receive, the vulnerable truth you've decided to express, and it demands a methodology of delivery. It ensures that your truth isn't thrown like a grenade, but offered as a genuine expression of self.
It's the ultimate quality control check. You are asking your internal guidance system to supply the compassion and the intention before you open your mouth.
This raises an important question about our modern behavioral defaults, though.
How so?
Well, when we face a problem today, when we don't know what to say or how to act, where do we turn? We Google it.
True.
We scour Reddit threads for identical situations. We buy another self-help book. We are so conditioned to seek external inputs to solve internal dilemmas.
We look outward for someone else to hand us the script.
Always outward. But the source's ultimate takeaway flips this entirely on its head. The text explicitly states that Tanzanite reminds us that our greatest insights are not always found by searching outward.
Wow.
Our deepest truths cannot be crowdsourced.
The source says sometimes they emerge when we become still enough to listen within.
It is a profound indictment of our reliance on external validation.
Hmm.
I mean, the answers to those 3 meditation questions cannot be found in any book, nor can they be provided by this deep dive.
Right.
You already possess the raw data. The text frames the stone as a mere catalyst, a tool to help you access the internal database you have carried all along.
You just have to clear the muddy water so you can read what's already written at the bottom of the glass.
Exactly.
It is a wildly empowering concept. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground navigating this source text today. We began with Tanzanite's sweeping mystical reputation as the stone of magic, acting as a bridge between physical reality and spiritual intuition.
And we dissected the energetic mechanics of that bridge.
Right.
We looked at the pipeline of the higher chakras, the crown taking in raw inspiration, the third eye translating it into vision, and the throat broadcasting it to the world.
And we examined the critical necessity of routing that signal through the heart, ensuring that our eloquence isn't divorced from our compassion. We explored the grueling, necessary work of clearing the mental clutter, using the stone as a somatic anchor to stop the furious stirring of our thoughts, allowing the silt to settle so we can break reactive habits.
And finally, we walked through the practical application.
Right.
The rigorous, vulnerable internal questioning required to discover our readiness for both receiving wisdom and expressing our hidden truths.
The entire text points toward an unyielding conclusion. You hold the answers, but you must cultivate the discipline of stillness to access them.
However, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something that builds on the fundamental premise of this text, but takes it one step further into the real world.
Oh, let's hear it.
So the source heavily champions finding your unique inner truth and expressing it with unyielding, heart-centered authenticity. It tells us the greatest insights are found by looking inward.
Right.
But imagine a scenario where you have done this rigorous inner work. You have sat in the stillness. You have located your profound inner truth, and you are communicating it flawlessly from the heart.
Okay, sounds good so far.
But the person sitting across the table from you has also done the work. And they are communicating from their completely different, equally deeply held, authentic inner truth.
Oh, wow. A collision of absolute certainties.
Exactly. What happens when those two authentic truths fundamentally contradict each other?
That's a great point.
The text strongly advocates for inner listening to find your voice. But does truly heart-centered communication sometimes require us to temporarily abandon our own inner wisdom in order to make the necessary space to truly hear someone else's? If two people are only ever broadcasting their own internal truth, no matter how pure the compassionate intention behind it is, are they ever actually in a dialogue?
Or are they just giving two simultaneous monologues?
Exactly.
That is a phenomenal question to ponder. It really challenges the limits of self-actualization.
It does.
Does the ultimate act of communication require turning your broadcast tower completely off, even when your signal is perfectly clear, just so you can act as a receiver for someone else? That is definitely something for you to explore on your own today as you interact with the world around you. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you managed to find your own moments of stillness today and maybe even discover a little bit of that magic within yourself.